so humid today. No amount of anything is gonna make my hair behave, so. Happy Thursday, Floss Tube. Hello, crafty friends. How's everybody doing? It has been a while. It's been a while, and I have a lot to share today. So grab a drink, grab some stitching. If you can stitch while you watch Floss Tube. I know I really, when I am watching Floss Tube, I am very easily distracted, and so I don't tend to get a lot of stitching done because I'm very easily led to look at the camera and see what you're all stitching. So, but you know, that's kind of fun too. And hopefully you'll enjoy visiting with me today. My name's Caroline, welcome back. If you're new here, I live in London, Ontario, Canada, and this is a video about cross stitch today, with a little bit of knitting thrown in, just a teeny bit of knitting at the beginning because I have a little giveaway to take care of first thing. You may remember that my friend Josh Moll from the Netherlands, who is a knitwear designer, she designed the Caroline shawl last year, the year before. Boy, 2020 is a blur, isn't it? It was the year before, and I literally have put one more row in it since the last time I shared it, so I did not bring it today. However, it has been the only thing that I've put any knit stitches in, so I think that this is a knit along, excuse me, for the Caroline shawl, and Josh, the designer, has some yarn up for giveaway for anyone who is participating with me in knitting this shawl. And if you participate in any knit along or stitch along with me, you'll know that I take a very, very, very long time to finish anything. So there are really no hard and fast rules. There's no end date for this cowl. It's just enjoy knitting it along with me. So Josh had some really beautiful cashmere yarn up for giveaway that she wanted to send out to a few lucky people who are knitting this shawl along with me. She had four caked up skeins of beautiful cashmere gradient yarn, and so I decided it would be fun today to give one of those away. If you are participating in this cowl and you're knitting along with me, the Caroline shawl by Josh, and there will be links to the pattern in the drop down box below, and I'm going to pop in a photo of Josh's shawl right here, and I thought let's pick a name today. So if I didn't finish that, did I? If you're knitting this with me, send me an email to caroline@evertote.com and I will add you in to the giveaway for the next 3 cakes of yarn that we have to give away. And you don't have to re-email me. If you've already emailed me about this, I have it in a separate file folder and you will be automatically re-entered into the next time that I draw the next name. So congratulations, Candy Von Buskirk. You are the lucky winner of the very first cake of yarn that Josh is going to send out into the world. So I will send you an email and then I will get you into contact with Josh so that she can send the yarn to you. And congratulations, I know you're gonna love it. And thanks for knitting along with me. Okay, whoops. Next up, I have a couple of charts to give away today, and I thought this would be a friend of mine, local friend, knitting friend, and she's also a stitcher. She gave me a bunch of stuff last week. Actually, it wasn't last week, it was just yesterday. This is how things are going lately. It was just yesterday. My friend Sandy dropped off a couple bags of stuff, and in there were some charts, and there were 2 charts in there in particular that I thought would be really fun to offer up for giveaway today. So the first chart is actually going to be a YouTube giveaway. So if you are interested in stitching this chart, if you would like to be entered into the giveaway for this, leave me a comment on this video, and in the comment, if you'd like to win this chart, you're going to have you're gonna have the number 2000 in your comment, and you'll see why. So the numbers 2000, the year, like the year 2000, because I have from Sandy a Just Nan chart to give away, and it's called First Stitches 2000. So you know when this is from, right? That's right, the year 2000. Now it does say, so the reason this chart is the way it is, it says my first stitches of the 21st century. Now clearly, we are now in, well, 2021. So 21 years later, I think this chart still has tremendous appeal. And really all you have to do is leave out that line of stitching, right? There's 2 lines of stitching where it says my first stitches of the 21st century. Just leave them out. Change the date, and it says what else started on January 1st, 2000. You can, you know, you can leave that out too, but frankly, you can put your start date on there whenever that is. Maybe you'll start it on the 1st of 2022. And it also comes with it has the embellishment pack inside. So it's got metallic gold beads, cream pearl beads, rose beads, Just Nan antique gold Baroque butterfly charm. That is all inside, stapled to the chart. So there's the chart. It's really, really pretty. And again, very, very easily adaptable to a more modern message. I think it's really pretty. Okay, so this again, this is a YouTube giveaway. Leave me a comment below with the number 2000 in your comment. And that's what I'll look for. And I will draw a name for this next week. So leave me a comment. The other giveaway is going to be a Facebook giveaway, and this is over on the Friday Off the Grid Facebook group. And last Friday was the first time in a while that I've participated in the Friday night virtual stitching party. Now, we had some new members last week when I posted that, you know, I was going to finally have a stitching party on Friday night, and a few people, by many I mean a few, had questions about what the heck it was and how do we participate and whatnot. It's not a Zoom call, there's no live video, there's none of that. It's really a very solitary party, but you're doing it at the same time as stitchers all over the world. So the idea is that at 6 p.m. your time, you start your stitching for the evening, and then the goal is to try to get 6 hours of stitching on your project and then share your starting photo and your ending photo. And so today's Thursday, it's almost Friday on the other side of the world. So I'm really hoping that lots of people will participate again this week for me. I am planning on, once again, booting home on time tomorrow night and being in my stitching chair by, it'll probably be 6:30 by the time I'm in my chair, you know, have some dinner and make a coffee and whatnot. But anyway, that's what the Friday Off the Grid group is kind of all about. However, there will be photos all week long of people stitching. There's usually someone always, you know, wanting to share their progress and whatnot. And lately there have been a fair number of dad jokes posted in the group, which I'm kind of a fan, so I let them stay because I think they're funny. That's about that. So again, it's the Friday Off the Grid group. I'm gonna post this giveaway over there, and it's called Friends, because you all are my friends. And this is by Twisted Threads, and you could literally stitch this with anything in your stash, because the color palette would be so easily adaptable to anything. I mean, it's so pretty, right? Very fall colors in there. I really like that font. So, really sweet. Okay, so you'll find this, you'll see a photo of this post over on the Facebook group later today, if you'd like a chance to win that. So that's it for giveaways. Now let me get into my pile of what I've been working on while I've been away from YouTube. So I know I've introduced you to Matt and I've introduced you to Hannah here at Evertote. I still have to do a video with Arzu. Arzu is the third person who works here with me at Evertote, and I hope to do that video soon. So when you met Hannah, not last Friday, but the Friday before, I think, she had done up a small freebie PDF chart. It's on the website. You can find it there and download it there. It's for free. It's called, I've got the thing right here. Teeny Sunset by Hans Little Cross Stitch Treats. And I had only finished the water last time, and now I finished the sun. So I finished the sunset. The only thing I have left to finish of Hannah's sweet chart are the clouds. And then it's done. Now, I already know where I want to put this, because I can't show it to you because it has some secret things on it that I can't show you yet. But I have a corkboard beside me here out of the frame of the camera. It's quite a large corkboard, and I've got some stitching on it, pinned to it, and I've got cards pinned to it from people from all over the world who have sent me notes and letters. And Carrie F from Australia last year, actually this is really funny, and Nikki Noodle on YouTube, if you're not watching Nikki Noodle, I think, I hope by now she's hit 4,000 subscribers. I love Nikki Noodle. She's become quite a good friend. And Kath and Taz. Now Kath, you can find her on Instagram, and I'll link to them below, but they had a go at me again because when I first received these were from Carrie in Australia, and she sent me a goodie package, and in there were some ornaments of popular Australian animals, the koala and the kangaroo. And then I held up this guy here and I said, and the hedgehog. And I had a pile of Australian friends email me and say, yeah, good on you, mate, but that's not a hedgehog. This is an echidna. And so I stand firmly corrected. It's not a hedgehog, this is an echidna. And if you have a chance to check out if you don't know, like I didn't know what an echidna is, they are adorable, and so you should definitely check them out. But it's not a hedgehog. And so I have some of these hanging on my corkboard as well. And so it's kind of become just I don't know, it's my good feeling board. So it's right beside me here while I'm at work all day. And so I can, you know, when I pass it, I look at the notes and I see them out of the corner of my eye, and it makes me happy. And so I fully plan on pinning Hannah's very first cross stitch chart on my corkboard. And so that's where that's gonna go. So Hannah has designed a few more charts, and as you will have seen from a photo that I'm going to pop in the very beginning of this video, she has been designing some more charts. And I said to her the other night, I said, you know, you really should start stitching these charts that you're designing, so that, you know, you can feel proud of what you've done and see them come to life. And you know, always trying to encourage that, hey, would you like some floss and some fabric and maybe a needle? Well, Sandy, who dropped off the charts yesterday, also dropped off a bag full of a few other goodies, and in there was some Aida fabric, all, you know, brand new, rolled up in tubes. And I handed it to Hannah and I said, here you go, you know, you're designing all of these charts now. You should really be stitching. So there's some floss over here, and let me know if you need some needles. So I think I got her, guys. I think we got her. So Hannah's little sunset is gonna go on my corkboard. So I just need to finish the clouds. Okay, next up, last Friday during the stitching party, I was working on this. I shared with you one of the last few videos that I did. This was a really old whip of mine called My Rustic Retreat, and it's by Something in Common. I'm not even sure if you can even get this chart anymore. It's super old. It's from 2007. And if you are new here and you hear some noise in the background, and you're wearing headphones, I have a rather large American Bulldog mix, and she's always beside me, and she's usually fast asleep and she's snoring. So that's the noise if you hear it. Sometimes people say, I couldn't hear Luna. Well, she's definitely there. So my Rustic retreat, and I am stitching this, the reason I chose this chart was because my LNS at the time, Thread and I, one of the owners, Neil, had stitched this, and it was a shop model, and I just fell in love with it. And so on the back of the chart, and this is how Neil had stitched it, you can stitch all 3 of those charts as one design. And that's what I'm doing. And I hadn't worked on this. I had not worked on this in a really, really long time. And let me tell you, last Friday when I was working on it again, I was reminded why I haven't been working on this in a really long time. So here's where it's at now. So since I showed it to you last time, I've done probably most of this is, a lot of that is new. And let me tell you, people who talk about Pattern Keeper and full coverage pieces and how amazing Pattern Keeper is, I believe it, because old school full coverage and the chart is hard to read, and I'm trying to, you know, highlight where I've done, and the symbols are all black and white, and it's really, really hard. And so I tried to work the whole 6 hours on this piece, and I barely got any progress made because I was watching FlossTube, and you know, I would be annoyed with the little part that I was stitching, so I would get distracted and watch FlossTube and, you know, wish that I was stitching what they were talking about, not what I was stitching. And so it was just not enjoyable at all. Though I love what it's going to look like, I am not enjoying stitching this. So this is going to be one of those ones where I'm just going to have to make myself do it, because I really, really want this one done. I really want this one done, because I mean, how beautiful is that really? There's no back stitching on it or anything. It's all like, this is all done. It's done. So I just need to get after it and do it. So I will. It won't sit for 5 more years before I touch it again. I promise. Okay, next up is some Modern Folk Embroidery. As always stitching Modern Folk Embroidery. I am such a big fan of Jacob's. I love his work. I love stitching his charts. As you know, Evertote now sells some of his charts. The Leo&Roxy floss pairs beautifully with his charts. So a lot of the stitching I'm doing right now, I'm just gonna move those little sweet ornaments so I can put them back up on my corkboard. A lot of the things that I'm stitching now, I'm stitching them because, well, they're in the shop because I wanted to stitch them. Purely altruistic motives. Is that the right word? Sometimes I use these words and afterwards I think, are people gonna think you're a big idiot because you're using it in the wrong context? You know what I mean, right? Selfish reasons why I brought those charts in, because I've wanted to stitch this chart for ages. This is the Red Berries chart. And I'm going to pop in a photo of the completed design. This is the cover photo, and here's where I'm at. So the last time I shared it with you, I had finished the bird, and then I've now been working on the vines and the berries, and I just started the border last night. So let's see if I can fold this up so that you can just see the stitched part a little bit better. This is a 32 count Zweigart linen, platinum linen, and there you go. Isn't that cute? So the two Leo&Roxy colors are Dark Sage and Cheeky. And I love stitching this. So one of the things I wanted to talk about with my stitching lately, and I have been talking about this pretty much every video for the last couple of months, that I've been really trying hard to learn how to stitch with the sewing method, so stitching in hand, which for me has been completely new. I have always been a frame user. I have never enjoyed stitching in hand. And because my time for stitching has become so little, I wanted to really try to achieve maximum effect for smallest amount of time. And the sewing method, I've only heard good things about how fast it is. And so I thought, well, you know, maybe it's time to get over your aversion of it and see if you can learn to like it. And I'm here to tell you that it has become a complete game changer for me. I now have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 projects all tucked into the same bag with floss, and I keep everything in. So I use a large project bag, and I've got extra notion pouches, and I just keep the floss in the notion pouch, or I've got a floss tag. This one was given to me by Gwyneth Curling Stones and XStitches on Instagram, and she made these for the girls who are doing the there's a small group of us doing the Joan Sands, another Modern Folk Embroidery piece, and so that's the bottom half of Joan Sands on the key fob floss ring, and then when I get and I put them all in the same bag, and then that bag travels around with me all day, and then at night I can pull out the projects, and then if I want to swap them out, then I'll put the project that I don't really feel like working on, that will go back in its other bag, and then so I'm able to just do 5 or 6 stitches if I have a few minutes with a cup of coffee and I just need 5 minutes to decompress. And I'm actually starting to, like, this was done in like 1 or 2 minutes here and there. I literally have so little time, and I was missing my stitching so much that this allows me to have a little taste of it and feel like I'm actually starting to see things happen. So I'm really loving stitching in hand. Now, this was a 32 count. So I started on 28 count with my Miss Margaret Ann Rollo sampler with the stitching in hand. And it was quite a loose weave fabric that I was using, a silk weaver 28 count. And so it was a really nice introduction to the sewing method, because the needle sort of, you know, is easy to navigate through a loose weave fabric. This was, as a 32, was quite a bit tighter, and so it took a little bit more practice, but I'm starting to learn, you know, you start to learn your own tricks, right, of how to get the threads to lie properly, or I use my thumb to help guide the one thing. I have started railroading more frequently. Railroading is where you put your needle through the 2 strands of floss before you put your needle back through, so that it separates the 2 strands as the floss goes through the middle, and then they lie more flat on the top of your fabric. And so the 32 count was a stretch. And I had tried 40 count, and I really didn't enjoy it, because I found that the fabric was too snug, and I didn't find that the needle, I didn't find I was able to manipulate the needle as easily with the sewing method. But I tried it again, and guess what? I can do it now. I can do it now. And so, speaking of Joan Sands, because this was the piece that I tried it on, and I didn't hate it, and I actually managed to get some progress. And so, like with anything else, practice, 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 and eventually it gets easier and better. So this is my Joan Sands sampler, again, on that bottom border. Love my bottom borders. And so using the sewing method, I finished the lighter pink on this flower and all of the pink in this motif there. So isn't that a pretty, pretty border? I mean, that's so gorgeous. I'm not using the called for floss. I'm just using some Leo&Roxy floss that I had in my stash. And this is a 40 count, I want to say it's Little Bunny by XJudesigns. beautiful fabric. So I think that's going to be super pretty. And it means that it's opening up new world of possibility for being able to work on some of my larger projects that are on, because I love the smaller counts too, right? And so being able to you know, bring back some of the bigger piece samplers that usually only go on my floor frame, might now actually be able to do a little bit at a time in hand, which is kind of exciting. So I'm excited about that. So that's my Modern Folk Embroidery red berries, and the Joan, it's not Joan Sands, is it? It's Joan, is it Joan Sanderson? Let me look at the thing. It is Joan Sands, I was right. Joan Sands. Okay, next up is, I have another Modern Folk Embroidery piece, but I'm going to save that for the end because that's the piece that I had the most progress on. So I'll save that as my big finish. But I started Bart Dunn's Spooky Bats. This is the chart that goes along with the Evertote Halloween kit. It's black cats and spooky bats, and it is the sweetest chart. The young cool kids are calling it spoopy, because it's spooky cute. Not just this chart, but apparently that sort of genre of Halloween stitching is now known as it's spoopy. So, and I like to act like I fit in with the cool young kids. So there you go. So Bart's chart, you can, if you weren't interested in the Halloween set, but you really love Bart's chart, and I'll pop up a photo of it here. I have it available as just the PDF on the shop. There will be a link in the drop down box below. And there's a floss pack for it as well that Bart designed the chart for, but again, you can use floss from your stash. And I actually started in the middle of Bart's chart. So I thought, let's do something wild and crazy. I didn't start on the bottom left, I started in the middle. And so here's my small little start on that majestic. Bart does borders better than me, that's for sure. He designs borders that I just think are so good. So good. I mean, look at that. Love that. Now I know my fabric is showing up as really quite green. This is, I kept the tag on it so I would remember. This is 28 count Lugana by Picture This Plus, and it's Cyprium. And that's C-Y-P-R-I-U-M. There's the tag, if you want to see that. If I can get it to focus. Let's see. There we go. Cyprium. And again, this is not the cut size of this because I've used something, I used part of it before for something else. Yeah, so let's see if I can get the color to show up. That's pretty true. Isn't that awesome? I mean, that's gonna look so good. That's gonna look so good. Let's see, yeah, you're in the middle there. The floss colors that Bart used are these guys here. The purple's hiding. There's Vampish, Haystack, and Sage. Vampish, Haystack, and Sage. So those are the colors. And just a note on this, the dye lot of Vampish that we have in the shop right now. We've sold a lot of Vampish because we used Vampish in the Modern Folk Embroidery Rule of Life chart. Jacob had designed that chart with Vampish, Plum Shadow, and Caramel in mind. And so Vampish has a hint of purple in it. Well, this dye lot of Vampish that we have in the shop now, and we've got a fair bit of it, fortunately, because it's gorgeous. Not that the old Vampish wasn't gorgeous, but this one has this, the thing with indie dye is that sometimes, you know, this is why when you start a project, you should try to buy enough for your project so that if you run out, you don't have to worry about dye lots, because dyeing is an art form, and it's a tricky art form where the very smallest thing can affect the outcome, as I am really learning from Carrie, the dyer of Leo&Roxy. Carrie and Jolyn are the dyers behind Leo&Roxy, and Carrie is the one dyeing the cotton floss. And so each dye lot is slightly different. And this dye lot of Vampish has a slight more tinge of that dark purple in it. And it is perfect for the Halloween stitching. So the lot that had just slightly less purple was actually perfect. Not that this, I mean, rule of life, this would work just as well because it goes with the other two colors beautifully. But for this chart, for Bart's chart and for Halloween stitching, it's amazing. So it has this, I'm not ever gonna be able to get that to show up properly, but it's gorgeous. It's really, really, really pretty. Gorgeous. So that's Vampish and Amethyst and Sage. Those are the color. Oh, and Haystack. That says Haystack as well. There is a really perfect Halloween orange in the shop called Pumpkin Up the Jam. That's a really great, it's a really great pumpkin color if you're a Halloween stitching fan, just FYI. Okay, so that is Bart's chart. Again, 28 count Lugana. I am finding this a little bit different stitching in hand. The holes are slightly more snug than 28 count linen. However, yeah. See, I'm surprised this is a 28 count because it really does feel like a 32 count. But anyways, I don't think it's mislabeled, and I could easily count the holes per inch, couldn't I? But anyway, gorgeous. I'm loving it. And Bart, thanks again for designing such a great chart. I love it. I love it. Okay, so last piece that I have the most progress on since the last time I did a floss tube video is my Modern Folk Embroidery. Now, I did mention my Rule of Life chart. Well, I mentioned we were selling the Rule of Life chart. I actually have still been stitching on my my whip Rule of Life. I have almost fully completed the bottom right motif corner, that big motif down in the bottom right corner. I've almost finished that, but I've left it at home and I didn't take any video of it, so I will have to share that next time. But I have been working on Ruskin's penguins. So this is another chart that Jacob of Modern Folk Embroidery did, and he designed it with the Leo&Roxy floss in mind. And I have a penguin. I have a penguin looking for his mate. Oh, I cannot tell you. I cannot tell you how much I have loved working on this. This, like the top of it, one cannot be angry when one looks at a penguin, is very apt because this piece is bringing me joy. This piece is absolutely so much fun to stitch. The little hearts all the way around the border are completely addictive. Completely addictive. And how great is that penguin? I mean, come on. Come on. Just amazing. Okay, so the details on this fabric, gorgeous, gorgeous fabric by Jukas, once again, of XJudesigns. I'm going to link to her shop in the drop down box below. This is the colorway Old Linen, and it's a 28 count. 28 count linen, and it's the Old Linen colorway. And it's a really beautiful kind of blue gray. It's absolutely gorgeous. I think I bought a half a yard, and so I still have a bit left for a different project. But I mean, I'm loving this so much. Oh, I love it. So the floss used in this is it's chalkboard and weathered white. Chalkboard and weathered white. Now, interesting insider info on weathered white. I had asked Carrie to dye some more of the weathered white, and there was a little dye mishap. So I'm still waiting for weathered white, but the dye mishap is a really good mistake, and it's going to be a new color coming out in October. So yeah, sometimes mistakes can be good. So this is chalkboard and weathered white. So those are my flosses and stitching in hand. And this is like, normally when I'm tired at night, I sometimes struggle to think of, you know, what do I want to stitch on? And I have just been gravitating towards this because it's been such, those little hearts. I just wanted, oh, just one more little heart, a few more stitches here. It's 2 colors. It's easy peasy, and it's just so fun. And the penguins are so cute. I love this. I just love this so much. Jacob, thank you. Thank you for designing such great charts. I love them. So again, you can find this, you can find a hard copy. I sell the physical copies of Jacob's charts. I do not sell the PDFs. If you are looking for a PDF copy of any of Jacob's charts, you can easily find them in his shop, www.modernfolkembroidery.com. And I do sell the floss packs separately. So if you're a PDF stitcher, you can get the PDF from him, and you can get, if you would like to use the floss that he charted it for, the floss is in my shop. Oh, that's so fun. Love this so much. Okay, that is it. That's it. My pile is done. I got through everything. So what else? I guess I've got a bit of personal stuff I can fill you in now. So if you're only here for the stitching, that was, oh, hang on. I think that's all the stitching stuff I have now. So the rest of the video is just going to be a little bit of personal update. Yeah, the fire truck at the beginning. It has been a completely cuckoo series of, you know, adventures around here lately. So this is, I'm at the workshop. I'm at work today, and the building where I'm at, the downstairs was being renovated, sort of re-renovated, changing the space around, because there are going to be two more businesses actually moving in downstairs. And so the workers who were here painting, they were doing some painting of some drywall that had been installed, and they were rinsing off their paintbrushes in the basement, and didn't realize that there was a smoke detector in that room, right close to the ceiling area where the sinks were. And I guess the steam from the sinks set off the smoke detector, and the fire alarm went off, and fire truck showed up. So fortunately it wasn't a fire. Fortunately it wasn't a fire. It was, you know, it was a false alarm. And we were told that smoke detector should be moved. It shouldn't be close to the sink so that we can avoid false alarms. But yes, that was quite something. And then sadly, a couple of days ago, the business next door to me was broken into. And so I had actually been hoping to do this video a few days ago, but my free time was spent, sadly, we have cameras on this building. There's a security system on the building, and there are cameras, and one of the cameras was angled at that corner of the sidewalk where we can actually see in front of their business as well. And so I had video footage of the time that the break-in occurred, and so the police officer and I, he wanted to see the video, and then it took a really long time, and you want to help your neighbors, and so that was my floss tube time a couple of days ago. So another reason why just things keep happening, things it is never dull. It is never dull around here. Life is happening. Luna was sick. She's better now, but Luna ended up with, she had a bladder infection. And so I had to take her to the vet and get her sorted out. And then, so this took a whole week. This was a pretty stressful week, actually. Not this week, but this happened 2 weeks ago. So the vet put her on some medication for the infection, and it had penicillin in it. And Luna, who is allergic to everything, of course, had an allergic reaction to the medication, but not until the 3rd dose. So it was sort of cumulative, because she breaks out in hives frequently if there's something new outside, some new, you know, what's the word? It's not seasonal allergies, but something will pop up outside that she's allergic to, and she'll sniff it in the grass or something, and she'll pop out in a few hives. So she had some hives, and I didn't think much of it because it's very normal. But then after the 3rd dose of this medication, she actually had an anaphylactic reaction, and she started, you know, coughing and having a little bit of trouble swallowing. And so fortunately, I had already given her, you can give dogs Benadryl. Now, I'm not a vet. This is advice from my veterinarian for my dog. So I'm not giving anybody else advice on, you know, giving Benadryl or whatnot, but Luna's course of treatment is, during the summer especially, is Benadryl. And so I had already given her some Benadryl to help with some hives that she was already, I thought she was already dealing with from being outside. So I'd fortunately already gotten it into her. And then it sort of started to kick in right around the time that she was having this reaction. So fortunately, I didn't have to take her to, you know, emergency vet services or anything like that. We worked our way through it. The next day, had a consultation with the vet. She switched her meds to a non-penicillin based medication. This is a really long story, isn't it? But boy, it was a week. And animals are not cheap. And so in the end, the secondary medication worked a treat, and the bladder infection cleared up, and she is now right as rain. However, she does have a couple of small growths under her chin that she will be having surgically removed to check for, you know, other nasty things. So my girl, my Luna, you know, she's not a young puppy. We adopted an older dog. She was a rescue from a humane society when she was apparently 6 years old. We've had her for 2 years, so she's at least 8 years old now. She's a bigger breed, so hopefully it's nothing. Apparently this breed, they do get these growths on their skin, and if you can sort of look after them sooner rather than later, the better it is, apparently. So anyways, that's my Luna update. Family update, John and Nicholas are still at the cottage. They've been there for a few weeks now, and they're coming home on Sunday. So I'm looking forward to having the whole family back together again. It's been a very busy summer, so I haven't had much time to miss them. But you know, when you go home at night, and she's a busy young adult, and she has her own life, and she's actually, she and I have been able to hang out much more so this summer than many summers in the past few years, because she's working here in London. So that's been really nice, but it'll be nice to have them home again. So looking forward to that. And I think that's it for personal update. I think it's been so long since we chatted that I think I've covered everything. My mom and dad, my mom sometimes catches up on what I'm up to in these floss tube videos. So mom and dad, if you're still hanging in, my mom said, I'm gonna tease my mom for a moment here, because my mom is not a stitcher. She can cross stitch, but she prefers knitting, I think. So she said to me once, she said, "Oh, I love watching your videos to catch up on your news, on what you're up to." She said, "But sometimes I fast forward through the stitching bits because they're a bit boring." Sorry, Mom. sorry for the boring bits all at the beginning. Hopefully you stuck around to the end and you caught the personal update. If you didn't, I'll try to call you tonight and fill you in on everything else. So there you go. Anyways, that's it for me today. I will see you next week because we have an unveiling on September 1st. The Modern Folk Embroidery Evertote Leo&Roxy Mystery September Sampler will be revealed September 1. If you have your packages and you're saving it to open on September 1st, you've got great willpower. Good for you. I think you're going to love them. I think you're going to love them. If you are not a fan of mysteries and you've been waiting to see the chart and all the goodies inside revealed, we have some extra ones. We have a fair bit of extra ready to go. Well, more details next week. There's a lot going on in the next 3 months, but I'm going to fill you all in on it next week. So until then, I'm gonna go make another cup of coffee and I'm gonna get back to sewing. I hope you're well. I really hope that you're safe. I hope that you have some crafting, some stitching, some sewing, some knitting, some tatting, some crocheting, some English paper piecing, some drawing, some painting, whatever craft is making your heart feel a little bit lighter and happier today. And until then, I'll see you soon. Happy stitching, everybody. Take care.